Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar on how to process your EDI transactions on Webgate Plus for federated cooperatives. It's with great pleasure that I'll be walking you through our user-friendly tool. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Fink, and I'll be your host for this English webinar. Our new Webgate Plus will be replacing MX Client. We actually did a full migration as of April 14th, so we are prepared to move everybody over immediately. Please note that your previous transactions that you need to complete will all be imported into the Webgate Plus portal for you. You can simply email us at setup@edigateway.com to let us know which POs that you need us to migrate over for you to complete your transactions. All your history will be kept on our servers, so you will be able to get the documents if ever you encounter a problem and you need us to resend some of them for you. You have also been assigned a username and password to allow you to start transmitting your ASNs, invoices, and statements, and also to receive your POs right away. So here is the agenda for today. We're going to try to fit everything into a 30-minute period, and afterwards we'll have a complete Q&A period. So don't worry if you have any questions, everything will be answered at the very end. So just a brief description about who we are and what we do for our customers. You may be dealing with us for multiple of your clients requesting EDI, or maybe it's just for federated cooperatives, but please note that we carry most hubs in the market and provide a wide range of solutions. We have been in business since 1993 and have been holding our reputation as the best personalized service in the industry ever since. We have developed the Canadian market by offering complete EDI solutions that can service the small mom and pop shop to the Fortune 500 companies. We have officially launched the development of the US market in January of 2017, and we are a Microsoft Gold partner and have a seat on the Microsoft Partner Network Executive Board. So let's take a quick look at the types of services that we offer to all of our hubs and spokes. Our Service Bureau offers our clients the possibility to receive and transmit all their EDI documents on their behalf. Some of our customers simply send us their invoices from their accounting package by email, and we process them on their behalf. Some others will use this service while they are integrating their EDI, so that business can continue as usual and stay compliant with their EDI trading partner. Our Webgate Plus is our new web EDI portal, which I'll be presenting to you today. This is a great option for low to medium volume, or if you are in the middle of integrating your EDI. Some of our clients have been using web portals for over 10 years, and they continue to do so. Our EDI integration solution allows you to integrate your EDI into any ERP or accounting package, avoiding the double data entry. We successfully integrate EDI into Microsoft ERP systems, Navision, and Business One from SAP, and we continue to develop adapters that meet our clients' needs on a monthly basis. If you need EDI integration in a different ERP system, please just let us know. We also offer file transfer protocol, where the exchange of business documents is done through FTP or SFTP. As part of a handful of providers in North America, we also offer van services. While our clients continue to grow and get fully integrated, we are still able to offer the van service and accompany all of our clients through their growth cycles. In addition to our services, we have created a group of professionals to help you manage your implementations. The group includes ERP system integrators, EDI, e-commerce, GDSN catalog, and consultants that all work together to help you have a successful implementations at no extra cost. In 2017, we have also added Office 365 to our solutions, making your Office mobile and fully accessible in Azure Cloud. Now let's take a look at the process for transmitting the EDI with federated cooperatives. If you are a DC vendor to be compliant with Federated Co-op, you will receive your POs. You will then create ASNs, invoices, and send them and receive your acknowledgements back from Federated Cooperative. If you are a DSD vendor, you will receive your POs, you will then create your ASNs and your statements, you will then send them and receive acknowledgements back from Federated Co-op. When Federated Cooperative is sending you a purchase order, our system automatically generates the 997 that will be sent back to them. Within the tool, your purchase orders can be viewed and printed from the inbox. Just like Microsoft Outlook, your transactions saved will be in your Outbox, and you will be sending them through there. Your sent box will have all the invoices and all the ASNs and any documents that you have created that you have sent along with their status. So it's very similar to MX Client in that sense, as you will see very shortly. Now we're going to explain on how to log into Webgate Plus. To log in, you will simply use your username and password that was sent to you by our setup department. You can change your password by clicking on Change Password on the login page, which I will show you in just a moment. But if you can see it, this is the Webgate Plus sign-in screen. As you can see, you are prompted to enter your username as well as your password. And then the security text as well is mandatory. And you would click on Sign In. When you get to, when you are signed in, you will get to the home page. This page is right now, just shows you information based off of how many invoices that have been sent in the month and how much they total. Eventually, there'll be a lot more information available on this page. So the next portion that we will be talking about is, we just talked about the home page. The next portion is documents. You're going to want to click on documents in order to see all the POs that you have received from Federated. Okay, so right away you're in the inbox. And if you already deal with Webgate Plus, or if you in the future are going to be set up with a few other retailers that are available on Webgate Plus, there is an option here, the retailer drop-down menu, and you would just simply search for the retailer that you are doing business with. In this case, it's Federated Co-Op, and we will click on the search button. And this will bring up all of your incoming documents for Federated Co-op. And so as you could see, you have a document number search box here. So you have the option to search if you'd like to. You could just type in the PO number and press enter, and it will bring up the PO that you are looking for. To view a PO, you could simply double click on it, and it will bring up in just a few seconds. It just takes a sec. Your PDF copy. And from here, you can choose to either print or view as a PDF. You also have the option to right-click on the PO and view the report, which will be the exact same report. You also have the option in the inbox to sort the columns that you would, how you would like to see them. So for instance, if you prefer to see the document number first, you can simply click and drag that column over. You can have the document number first. If you prefer to have the document type first, you can also drag that over. I prefer to always have the document date first and then the document number. Whichever way you decide to organize this, please note that the next time you log in, it will remain in that sequence. So we've just went over the sort and search options. We are going to now move on to how to create an ASN for Federated Cooperatives. You have two options from within your inbox. You can either right-click on the purchase order itself and choose Create ASN, or you can highlight the PO and click on the Create ASN button in the top right corner. If ever you have already created an ASN for a particular PO, a notice box will pop up. In this case, it says the selected source documents have already been used to create so-and-so ASN. Do you want to continue? In this case, I will say okay, but it's a very good indication of, it's a good warning for you guys, so that way if you already have created an ASN and you might not want to be doing that again. So you would, in that case, click cancel and look into that. But in this case, it's training, so I'll press okay. So as always, they ask for an ASN number, so we would just type that in. And all the fields that are with a little red X as so are mandatory fields that you must enter. Same for the bill of lading number. I'll just put a few more numbers here. Actually, just in case, because I've done this training a few times, I don't want to repeat numbers because it'll say that I've already used that ASN number. So we'll use the same number for the bill of lading. You'll notice that some fields are closed. To open them, you would click on the little triangle here. And for instance, here it is asking you if you're shipping on a carton or pallet. So you will select whichever that you are shipping. The next bit of information is the carrier details. This is your SCAT code and your carrier transport full name. What we can do for you in Webgate Plus, just like in MX Client, you can add carriers, and then you would simply press the select button and a listing of all your carriers will pop up. And you would just simply double click and it will plug in the information for you. The next bit of information is the ship date, so you would change that accordingly, as well as the current scheduled delivery date. You would enter that as well. And the ship from actually is pulled from the profile within Webgate Plus, which is something else that we can also do for you prior to you guys going in and creating your ASNs and invoices. So it's something that is hard-coded in the system. and then you would simply click on Next. The only bit of information that is required on this page is the gross weight of the shipment. So you would double click in that field, punch in the weight, and press Enter to save. You have the option to change the unit of measure for the weight from pounds to kilograms if needed. And if you have any changes to quantities to make, you would do so on this screen by simply double clicking on the quantity and punching in the new quantity and pressing Enter to save. And you would do so for all of the quantities depending on if there's any changes. There are no packing rules for Federated, so at this point you are done your ASN and you can click on Save. You'll notice that there's two save buttons. There's a Save as Draft and a Save. So Save as Draft means that it will save the document as a draft. It will be under the status draft in your Outbox, and it will not be sent. Even if you clicked Send Valid, as you will see later, it will not actually go out. So this is great if you have information that is missing on this screen, you're not sure of the bill of lading number, or you're not sure of your carrier or your ship date, but you want to actually create the document to have it ready. You could save it as a draft and it will never accidentally go out from the Outbox. But in this case, we're done, so we're just going to click on the green Save button. Oh, okay, so this is a little message that pops up that says the delivery date of April 21st is earlier than the shipment date, and that's obviously not allowed, so we're going to go back, and it saved it, but we can always go back in the Outbox. We can right-click and edit, and we can go ahead and change that date to reflect both today. So we're going to create our invoice from an ASN, and there's two ways to do this. So first, you can either do this from the Outbox directly before actually sending your ASN by right-clicking on it in the Outbox and choosing Create Invoice. You can also do the exact same thing from the Sent box. It would be the same thing. You would just right-click on your ASN and choose Create Invoice. Or you can highlight the ASN and click on Create Invoice in the top right corner here. And so the first thing that it will ask you for is your invoice date. So if it's different than today's date, you may click the little triangle and change the date. You would then enter the invoice number. Everything else is populated either from the profile itself or from the PO. So after the invoice number, it is the terms. And so this again can be entered in the profile, or it can be manually changed right here on the screen. Once you have entered the terms, you would simply press the calculate button here, and it will calculate the net due date and also the discount due date if applicable. The ship date comes directly from the ASN, so we do not have to change that date. And then you may select if it is a prepaid or collect and make the change necessary here. And then you would simply click on Next. From here, you're on the actual invoice screen where you have your quantities and your prices. All quantities are based off the ASN, so there should not be any changes. But if there are, you can simply double click in that field just like you did on the ASN screen, and you may change the quantity. You may do the same thing for the unit price. You may double click in the field and you can change the unit price as well. And you would just simply press Enter to save. In terms of taxes, if you would like to tax the whole invoice as a whole, you could click on GST All. If you have some items that are not taxable, you can simply tax certain items by clicking on in the appropriate box per item. And always please pay attention to the bottom right-hand corner. You're going to want to look at your subtotal, your tax total, and your total after the tax with the taxes included, just to make sure everything balances according to your paper invoice. The summary tab, there's really nothing to look at here other than adding an allowance or charge. If you do have allowances or charges, you would simply click on Add. And from here, you have the option to add either an allowance or a charge, and the appropriate codes that go along with it. So for instance, if we have a discount, we would simply make sure it's on A for allowance, choose the appropriate code, enter your amount, and press on OK. And you can tax it as well by clicking in the GST box. Same thing for adding a charge. You would simply change it to charge. You would select the appropriate code. In this case, we'll use freight. And you would simply enter the amount and press OK. And same thing to tax, you would just simply click on the little box under the tax column. The tax configuration tab is only if you have special tax percentages that are special to you. So in this case, right now, Webgate Plus is set up so that the percentages are per province. But if you have a custom percentage, you may press custom and then adjust the percentage accordingly. Please note that if you do this, it'll just be for this particular invoice and it will not be for any invoices going forward. And when you are finished, you would simply click on Save. And this is a perfect example. So for instance, if you have already used a particular invoice number, it'll say if it's already been in use. Would you like to continue? We'll ask you. In this case, I'll press OK, but it's very important to not duplicate invoice numbers. So for production documents, please always pay attention to whatever box pops up with Webgate Plus, because it could be a box that's notifying you of something that could potentially be non-compliant going forward for you. Then it will say that the invoice that I just saved is valid. So that was creating an invoice from an ASN. Now we're going to talk about creating an invoice from a PO directly. We'll go back to the inbox because this is where all your federated POs are. And just like we created the invoice from the ASN, same thing, we can right-click on a PO and create invoice. You can also highlight the PO and click on Create Invoice in the top right corner. Once again, you can change your invoice date if needed. You enter your invoice number. Let's try to enter a number I haven't used. Again, a lot of the information is either pulled from the profile or from the PO. So the only thing to really worry about is your terms and pressing on the calculate button to ensure that your net due date is calculated properly. The ship date, of course, needs to be changed because we did not create an ASN in this case. So you're going to want to enter the valid ship date. And then again, you can change this section here from collect to prepaid or vice versa. And then you would just click next. Here it's very important to obviously change your quantities if you need to. So you would just simply double click in that field, change, press enter. Same thing for your prices if they're different. Change and press enter. And once again, the taxes are the exact same. You can either tax the whole invoice as a whole by clicking GST all, or you may click each individual item, depending. You would then click on summary. You will need to enter the complete weight here because since we did not do an ASN, this information was not pulled from the ASN. So in this case, we have to enter it on the invoice directly. And again, you can change the unit of measure for the weight from kilograms to pounds to ounces. Once again, you can add your allowances and charges in the same fashion. You just select the right code, add your amount, and press OK. And again, you can tax the allowance or charge as well. And the tax configuration tab works the exact same way. If your taxes are per province as normal, you would just leave it on auto. And if you have custom percentages, you would click custom and make the appropriate changes, and it will adjust the taxes accordingly. And then you would just simply click on save, and it will say that your invoice is valid. Now we're going to talk about how to create your statement for Federated Co-op. From within the inbox, you are going to click on Create Statement in the top corner here. If, for instance, you're set up with a few different retailers in Webgate Plus and they require statements, you might have a listing here of different retailers. In this case, you would just double-click on Federated Co-op, and this is your statement page. The first thing it will ask you for is a statement number, which is a number that you create. Your statement date usually is always the same date as you're creating your statement. Your tax selection, you have to tell the system if there's going to be GST, PST, HST, or no tax at all. In this case, we'll add GST, PST. The remit to and bill to is something that is entered into the profile of Webgate Plus. That's something that we're going to be setting up for you prior to using Webgate Plus. So it's something you really don't need to worry about. The last step is pressing add to add your invoices to the statement. When you press add, you'll notice a column appears with little red X's. The first column is your invoice number. So you double click in that field and you enter your invoice number. You press tab to get over to the next column, which is your invoice date. If it's the same date, you can just press tab to go over to the next section. Store number, store code is store number. You would enter your store number and press tab. Your subtotal. At this point, you would add the subtotal, you would put in the subtotal of the invoice. You would tab over to GST and add the GST amount. You would then tab over to PST and add the PST amount. And you'll notice that doing all that process, the invoice amount populates automatically. And so you just keep going until you've added all of your invoices to the statement. So we'll do it one more. We'll press tab. This time we'll change the date. Maybe we'll make it the 13th. You'll enter your store number, the subtotal, the tax, and the PST amount. And as you can see, it's calculated the invoice amount. And as you keep adding invoices to your statement, you'll notice that the subtotal and the tax amount and your statement total will be changing. And so just keep an eye and make sure everything is balancing according to whatever invoices that you're entering on the statement. When you're done, you would just simply click on the Save button in the top right corner. A box will pop up saying that your statement number is saved to your Outbox, and you will just click OK. It'll ask you if you'd like to create another statement for Federated Co-op. If you do, you would simply click Yes. If you do not, you would click on No. So that completes the creating the transactions portion. Now we're going to look into the Outbox and all the documents that are sitting in the Outbox. So just like MX Client, once you create your documents sit in the Outbox. It's the same thing for Webgate Plus. As you can see, right now we have our statement, we have our 2 invoices that we created, and we have our ASN, and they're all status as valid. And so what you want to be careful about is these 2 buttons in the top right corner, the send button and the send valid button. Send is used to send one document at a time. So you would simply click on the one document and you would click on send. Send valid means that it will send all of the documents. So you might have documents in here that you do not want to send right away. The ASN is not due to go out quite yet, or you don't want to send the invoice quite yet. And so you don't want to be clicking on send valid. That's why it's a good option if you have documents that you have saved as a draft to actually save them as a draft in the Outbox, because if you ever did click on send valid in error, the status here for some of them would say draft, and they actually wouldn't be sent out at all. And so it would save you the hassle of potentially sending something that you shouldn't have, because once a document is sent through Web Plus, it's sent. We really can't retrieve it. It goes through our system pretty fast. So the next thing we'll talk about is the sent box. Before that, I'll show you how to actually send your documents. So as I explained, we don't really want to click send valid just right now because I have a lot of documents in here that were created a few days ago or months ago. So we'll just do one by one. So you have 2 options. You can right click on the document itself and select send. It'll ask you, are you sure that you want to send the following document number? You will press OK. Or you can highlight the document and press send. The same box will pop up and you'll just press OK. And we'll do that for all the documents that we have created today. After you have actually sent your documents from the Outbox, you can click on the Sent box. And here is where you'll see all of the documents that have been sent and their statuses. So we're going to talk about the different acknowledgements that you'll receive in the Sent box and how important they actually are. So there's 3 different kinds. There's in queue, there's sent, and then there's acknowledged. So let's just take a look. So right now, the documents that we have just sent are all in queue. Within about 3 minutes, that status should change to sent. And at that point, within 24 hours, usually, not longer than that, you should see an acknowledgement status. So you'll have your sent date here. You'll have an acknowledgement date, and the documents will actually say acknowledged here. Right now we don't see this just because it's training purposes, but if ever you do not see an acknowledgement status of acknowledged with an actual sent date and acknowledged date, it's really important that you give us a call right away, because we can look into if in our internal system the documents are actually acknowledged or if there's an actual problem, we can contact the retailer for you and avoid any kind of fines or chargebacks that you may incur. So if ever you don't see an acknowledgement in here, please give us a call today. So I just want to thank you guys so much for taking part in this webinar with us. Thank you for your attention, and I really hope that you found our new web EDI to be user-friendly. Obviously, we understand that there's often discomfort and change, and we want to let you know that our staff is there to answer any questions that you have. As technology moves forward, we do have to adapt and change our systems to make them compatible with today's tools. So again, we thank you for your collaboration. And also, please note that our webinar content will be available on demand on our website as well. You'll go to our website and you'll be directed to our YouTube channel. So now comes the questions period. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. Okay, so Carolyn Springer, what does ASN stand for? ASN is an advanced ship notice. And what that means is that Federated wants to know, they want to receive a report via EDI of what you're going to be shipping to them. And they want to receive that report before they receive your goods. So Gabrielle, I hope that answered, Carolyn and Gabrielle, you both had the same question. I hope that answered it for you. I see a lot of you guys typing, so if I'm silent, I'm just waiting for your questions. Okay, so the login will be provided by our setup department, and I'll type in their email address on the screen here. They will be in contact with you by email. Okay, so Lillian, you're asking if you can still use MX Client. Unfortunately, we are migrating everybody off of MX Client for Federated, so no. Once you're provided with your username and password for Webgate Plus, you are to start using Webgate Plus right away because everything will be moved over. And so any POs that you have on MX Client that you need moved over, you just have to let our setup department know, and we will move them all over for you. Michelle, great question. When sending out multiple invoices, can we highlight them all and send them all? You can actually highlight them all by clicking on the first one. I wonder if I can actually show you. I don't have much in here, but let's just send. So what I'm doing is I clicked on the first document here. I know it's 2 ASNs and an invoice, but let's just try it. I clicked on the first document, and then I'm holding down Control as I highlight the other 2 documents. And then I'm right-clicking and I'm clicking on Send. And it's asking me, are you sure that you want to send the following documents? And as you can see, there's 1, 2, and 3. And so I'm going to press OK. So yes, you can send multiple documents at the same time. Okay, Peggy, I'm reading your question. We were asked a year ago to be set up to receive Federated Co-op POs via EDI. However, we still receive them via email. Does this mean we will start to receive them via Webgate? Okay, Peggy, I'm not sure if you don't mind, which company are you from? Because maybe you need to be set up with Federated via EDI. KML Food. And so you receive your POs from, okay, I see. Okay, what I'll have you do, KML, I will have your customer rep look into your account and give you a call on that, okay? I believe your customer rep is Janet. I'll have her give you a call and she can go over your account with you and we can figure that out for you, okay? Let me just scroll up. There's a lot of questions here. Let's see. Okay, so Pramila, what if a mistake is made and the invoice is sent already? Like I said, when it's actually sent, it's really hard for us to retrieve it. You can give us a call right away as soon as you notice that you've done that. We can try our best to stop it. If anything, we can maybe contact Federated on your behalf and have them delete the invoice from their system before you retransmit the new one. Okay, Peggy, I saw your second question about currently having a login and password for Webgate Plus. You would just use the same login and password. We would just link Federated Co-op to it. Evelyn, your question of can we use this program on various workstations? Absolutely. What's great about Web Plus, it's a web-based system, so it's on the internet, so you can work from anywhere. It's multi-user friendly. Whatever work that you do on your workstation will be seen by everybody. So if you create an invoice and it's in the outbox, or an ASN, it's in the outbox, everybody's going to see that invoice or ASN. Same thing for the sent box. So it's very multi-user. Lillian, when will you be set up and when will you get your username and password? Very shortly. We're working on that right as we speak. So our setup team will be contacting you shortly. Michelle, great question. when sending in a statement in the invoice number field, if we have multiple invoice numbers, we write 100 to 125. I believe I have to look into that a little further. I believe it's preferable to write each individual invoice number, but I could definitely look into that further and get back to you on that. There are no, let me just see, credit notes. Great question, Michelle. Let me just, maybe one thing I skipped. Let me just see. Go back to the sent box here. No, actually, there are no credits for Federated. And it's true. When I was contacting Federated regarding this, at the moment there are no credits for Federated. If that changes, we will definitely let you know, but they're not required. Crystal, do we get an email notification when a purchase order is created from Federated? Absolutely. So as usual, whenever you receive a PO from Federated Co-op, you will receive a notification by fax and email, and that will prompt you to want to log into Webgate Plus to view your POs. Sophie, our ASN is mandatory. Federated is requiring that all vendors who deal with Federated Co-op send out ASN. So yes, this is a mandatory transaction. The one last portion, if all the questions are finished, if you have more, please feel free to type in the chat box. I just want to let you guys know that we do have a survey regarding this webinar. If you could just take a few seconds to complete it, it's up on the screen. Okay, Lillian had one last question. How do we get an ASN number? So the ASN number is something that you create on your side. You can use the PO number. It's really up to you how you want to cross-reference it internally on your side. But I suggest personally, when I do ASNs, I like using the PO number because it's very difficult to duplicate that kind of a number, and it's easy to cross-reference. And as always, I'm sure once you guys start using Webgate Plus, you're going to have questions. That's what our client care reps are here for. So please give us a call, send us an email, and we'll be happy to walk you through any steps that I might have missed or maybe I went too fast. I think we have answered all the questions. Thank you so much, everybody. So I'm going to turn off the audio on this. I'll leave the survey up in case anybody wants to complete it. And thank you once again.